Rep. Killebrew, for having the courage to show some concern over a very, very, very bad bill, okay? We have the tendency in this process to get into groupthink on partisan terms. Oh no, it's a Republican bill, we have to vote for it. No questions asked. I'm glad to see some pushback here on what is a very bad bill that's not based on the science. It's not driven by empirical evidence. It's driven by an anti-cannabis agenda. Well, we've got some major problems here. You know, we have reefer madness is the ideology that is prevailing in this legislation. There's a number of conditions that require high potency THC to be effective. We heard what many of those conditions were. They include chronic pain, okay? The exemption in this bill that says, oh, but if you're terminally ill, then, you know, you can have the high potency stuff. Really? That's the exception? You have to be terminal to be able to get access to a medicine that has caused 0.00 fatal overdoses, not just recorded in this legal program, but in the history of recorded medicine, has registered exactly 0.00 fatal overdoses. What are we so afraid of, members? Representative Escamani and Rayner and myself, we brought forward good amendments. Representative Escamani brought forward amendments based on empirical data that shows that cannabis can be effective at weaning people off of opioids. Rejected, unfriendly. Don't they have a right to try? If they're addicted to pills, people are dying every day because of opioid addictions. Don't they have a right to try? What are the consequences if we let them have cannabis when they're addicted to opiates? The right question is, what are the consequences if we don't? We know what the consequences are, members. And let's look at the specifics again of this arbitrary THC cap. You can say goodbye to flower. Say goodbye. Because that is the naturally growing, ungenetically modified result, is you typically have above 10% on flower for THC. So there's a reason why Representative Roach very cleverly changed the effective date on the 10% THC cap on flower compared to last year's similar legislation. It's because he understood that his cap would ban the flower product, so he's now giving them a year to sell through their product as opposed to destroy their product that would be prohibited under his legislation. Very clever. Just want to point that out. And again, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We have major issues to address. And as it relates to the medical cannabis program, which, by the way, has its own problems. The problems in the medical cannabis program, those of us who are listening to our constituents, as opposed to the lopsided presenters that have come before this committee, those of us who have listened to our constituents, as opposed to listening to these bills like Representative Roach's that take a wrecking ball to the medical cannabis program, those of us who listen to our constituents, we know what the problems with the medical cannabis program are. And they don't have anything to do with THC potency. They have to do with affordability, which Representative Escamani and Rayner addressed with their amendments. They have to do with access, which Representative Rayner tried to address with her sickle cell amendment. We're addressing equity with our amendments, rejected as unfriendly, because that's what this is. That's welcome to the Florida legislature. You got a D next to your name, unfriendly. You got an R next to your name, just bulldoze through with these bills. I have a request. My request is, I know what's going to happen with this bill. I'm urging you all to please vote against it. Hit the red button. Have more courage. Be inspired by what you heard. But my request is I'd like to see in this committee, Mr. Chair, more bills that create more patient access and affordability as it relates to cannabis. I want to hear invited speakers, not members of the public clamoring to get a second in to tell their truth. I want invited speakers who are going to tell us the truth about cannabis. Members, we're better than this. Please hit the red button and vote against this very bad bill. Thank you.